Welcome to the Memphis Applegate workshop. If you would like to see how we made these oak nightstands with 100% pull-out drawers, soft closing, stick around because that's what we're going to do today. Well, welcome to another Memphis Monday, Memphis Monday 175. Today we're going to be building two, primarily oak, oak and maple plywood, two nightstands. It's been a few months now. We built a couple of nightstands, but we made them, they were dark, and they had captive drawers instead of 100% pull-out drawers. We're going to change it up this time. These are going to be lighter in color, and I think it's going to be an interesting project. So let's knock off the chit-chat and get to work. Save time, I've already got the cases started. What I'm working on now is the oak trim. This is one of those cases where the trim becomes the legs, and so I've already got the outer piece put in, and now I'm going to install this. But before I install it, I want to put a round over detail on the outer edge. This trim goes on pretty easy. I just put that rounded over edge to the outside. Apply a little glue, staple it down. I'm putting the trim here on the side that has the rounded over trim, but since it's rounded over, I've thinned the trim here down to just over 1/2 inch. Kind of sanding as I go, so I don't have it all at one time. What I'm doing now is marking where I want the spacers. I'm going to have three drawers. So I got these spacers where I'm drawing the line. That's spacer number 1, and then this is spacer number 2. And this is spacer number 3. So once I get the lines in there, then it's just a question of lining the drawer guide up on that line and putting screws in. These drawer guides are what they call soft close. They got a mechanism back there and some springs. They're called soft close. They roll out, and then when you close them, get them to about right there, they close automatically. Well, the only thing I got to do on these boxes now is staple in the backs, or the bottoms. If my theory is correct, I should be able to mount these sliders here right in the center of each drawer, and everything should work out fine. Let's check that theory. Let's test our theory. Well, I've been working on the drawer fronts. I'll do a little sanding and then we can install them. Here I'm marking the drawer front for the little handles. Start off by finding the center of the board. We're going to do these drawer fronts and install them a little bit different. I have my little template here. I mark where I want my drawer pull holes. And this is my drawer pull, and I'll line that up on the holes and then make a little trace around these little ends here. Then I'm going to drill holes right in the center of the little trace I made. Okay, now I'll show you why I drill those holes. I got dunnage piled up here to support my door as I put it in. Since this is an experimental technique, I'm going to actually try it out here before I do the rest of the doors. Okay, now my theory is I can put these little screws in. Now my drawer front is perfectly positioned and it's held tight with that first set of screws. Now I can go in here with my regular screws. Okay, now I put my, remember the two little dots we put in there? I can erase off these extra lines. But erasing off those lines is really not good enough. You really gotta sand, because that rubber from the eraser will mess up your stain. Okay, now these holes go in. Do a little review. Remember, we put those two holes in there for the drawer pull. Then we put those two screws in to hold the drawer front to the box. Now we're installing the drawer pull. The technique seemed to work. You can't see right underneath these flutes here. there's a screw that goes into the box, but after you get the drawer pulled on, you can't see any of the layup lines or the screws or anything. So I'm guessing that this technique worked. To get my next one lined up, I put this piece of scrap material in here. And after I get everything set up, I can sand off all the layup lines. We got our drawer fronts on. Now it's time to put our tops on. This is real nice maple plywood, and I'm going to put oak trim all the way around. There's a lot of ways to fail on this, putting this trim on. This is oak trim. It's 1.5 inches thick. So I'm using these 2-inch brads. They're 16 gauge, and I got my pressure set at 125, which is max on my compressor. Additionally, I'm holding the trim in place with a clamp, and down at the other end I've got those screws in there so that I can put maximum pressure on that trim so that brad will go in and countersink itself. So I'm not putting this trim on willy-nilly. Instead, you know, each piece of trim, I gotta reset up my board. These screws will allow me to put pressure on this thing without it sliding. So here you can see the little ledge I've left right along there to support the trim while I'm nailing it in place. So I can press it up tight, and then I got to come down here and measure it. So I just put my trim in place, make sure it's just where I want it, and I come down here and really carefully mark the exact inside dimension. So now here on my saw, I can just bring my saw down, and I can actually walk the saw blade into that line. Now if all my fussing worked out, that corner should be right exactly even with that corner there. I was originally going to stain this in a color called natural, but I was experimenting a little bit, and this color is called Colonial Maple. It's very light, and that's what I'm going for. But there's a little more color in it. Well, as usual, we're running out of time. I'm going to go ahead and sand these tops down, and then we can install them. Well, installing the top, first thing I got to do is put in 4 pilot holes. Then these screws simply go into those pilot holes. Well, here's our nice little nightstands. They're heavy, oak. You know, I think they're going to get real good service out of them. Well, that does it for another Memphis Monday 175. Today we built the 2 nightstands, oak nightstand with 100% pull-out drawers, 75-pound test. Is cabinet grade maple plywood, trimmed in oak and stained with really a natural stain that had a little bit of color called colonial maple in it. Add a little color. So I think we had some takeaways, and anyway, that's all I have. Tweet and comment and like and share and Facebook and all the stuff you do on the internet. Most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.